God did not make you be born for you to fail. Hi YouTube. So my name is Jasleen, and if you're new to my channel, welcome. I always wanted kind of a big sister to lean into me and tell me a bunch of things that I didn't know about life. A mentor or someone, I needed that desperately, and so I'm hoping that I'm able to be that a little bit for whoever receives me. So today we are going to be talking about the power of walking by faith and not by sight. Why? Because it's where I am in life right now. Having faith without sight, for those of you who don't understand what that means moving through life and trusting whatever your faith or religious practice is, God, the universe, higher power, Allah, Yahweh, that you're meant to be here, trusting your intuition, trusting your guidance, moving through life and literally trusting to be guided by something greater than you, more divine. That is what walking by faith and not by sight mean. God did not make you be born for you to fail. As easy as that may sound, which I don't even know if it sounds easy, it is extremely hard to do. When I tell you I'm struggling, literally struggling, trying to do this right now. So as I go through these steps, I'm talking to you guys, but I'm also talking to myself. So let's get into it. How to walk by faith and not by sight. First thing that's really helping me as I navigate through this season of my life, and when I tell you guys, like, I'm gonna have to do a story time soon to just really pull you guys into my life and tell you everything that's been going on. I've been really considering doing kind of like the synopsis of my whole life, a story time from when I was born to who I am and how I got here, because if you guys heard it, you wouldn't believe it. It's been a journey, okay? Things have been crazy, like y'all don't even know. But having faith without sight, what's keeping me strong and what's keeping me grounded and what's helping me get through this season is, first, remembering those moments when you thought life was over and it wasn't. It wasn't even as big of a deal as you thought it was going to be. So a lot of the times when we're walking by faith and not by sight, we're constantly in our heads. We're constantly thinking that life is over. This is the worst thing that's ever happened. How am I going to get out of this? How am I going to navigate this? Why can't I just have the answers now? How did I get myself in a situation? I should be smarter than this. I should be, like, we're literally beating ourselves up, and we're constantly telling ourselves that this is the worst thing we've ever done, the worst position we've ever been in. It's just, we don't know how we're going to get out of this. We don't see a way out. And so how can we walk by faith, right? And so in those moments, what really calms me and what really keeps me grounded and brings me back to center is just remembering 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, maybe even a couple of years down the line, when I'm able to look back. Half the time I'm laughing at myself. Half the time I'm looking back and I'm giggling. I'm looking back with a smile. I'm looking back with a sense of wisdom and grace and understanding. So even if I don't agree with what happened, I can kind of understand why it happened. And the most important part, I did survive it. We look back over these things that we've been through in our lives where we thought life was over. And you can, depending on your age, it could be you were in 5th grade and you came to school and you left your homework and you thought life was going to be over then, right? As you progressed and you went through life, you realized that that actually was not the end of the world and life turned out to be okay. Remembering those moments is so vital and it's so important because it triggers your mind into a gear, a state of being where your mind is going to look for similar moments that happen. It only takes 17 seconds. Your mind is going to look for similar moments and bring everything together. So all you have to do is think about one moment and just watch how your mind will kind of go down this journey. Second tip that I have for walking by faith and not by sight, again, these are all pieces of advice that I am using. Never give someone advice that I wouldn't take. So it's believing the subtle self-realizations / experiences, your aha moments, right? That inner voice. And this is something that was really, really hard for me to believe. The aha moments that happen were really real, because those are moments that happen between you and you, right? Or you and your higher self. You when you're meditating or when you're praying, these are moments that happen between you and God. And so because you're the only person who heard it, sometimes it can be hard to allow yourself to believe it just happened, that the voice you heard was real, that the guidance that you feel, that impulse is real. It can be very, very hard to believe that when it's just you. A way to kind of solidify it is to write it down. So when you have an aha moment, quickly journal it, so that when your mind starts trying to make you no longer believe or question your faith, you can go look at the things that you've written down and kind of remember, these things are real. These things happened. I wrote it down. And writing it down can kind of get you back into that place of where you were when it happened. And then from there, you can take action. It really, really helps to strengthen your faith. It really, really helps to make it grow. And it really gets you more connected to source, to God. Third piece of advice that I have for walking by faith without sight is to romanticize your miracles. When you follow that aha moment, when you follow that divine guidance and something happens, something good happens, something good comes out of it, romanticize that. Romanticize those miracles. Life tries to dumb things down. Science will try to over-explain things. Romanticize your miracles. My little one, my son, had a birthday just last month, and I needed a couple of $100s. It didn't seem like it was, the time for me to be doing a really big birthday. Long story short, I decided to book this trip, drive from Atlanta to Chicago, whole thing, right? Once I got there, I met up with my family, and they were doing a timeshare, and they were paying people to come and listen to the pitch, so to speak. So I got there, had no idea this was going to be going on, decided to signed up, listened to the pitch. It probably was like an hour, and I got $200 cash money, which was like exactly what I needed, because I was waiting for some funds to come in. And so romanticize that, right? I took that moment after that happened and went and just got some sun, sat under a tree, closed my eyes for a little while, and took that moment in. Allowed myself to cry, allowed myself to be mind blown, allowed myself to accept and receive that I had no control over this. I simply put out what it was that I wanted, my desire, and I watched it unfold. That was an incredible, incredible miracle, and an incredible thing to see, an incredible thing to experience. And the more you romanticize that, and the more you juice that, the more you're going to believe that these things are not coincidences. Because I have news for you. There is no such thing as a coincidence. Everything happens for a reason. It's either a blessing, or it's trying to teach you something, it's trying to get your attention. It's a manifestation of a desire that you wanted, but things happen around you. Nothing is just happening by chance. Nothing is just, the earth isn't just spinning by chance. The sun isn't just rising by chance. You aren't just breathing by chance. There is a balance. There is an ebb and flow, and everything happens for a reason. And so when I came across this $200 that I had no idea I was going to get that day, it just solidified for me that I'm not alone. I'm not doing this journey through life alone. There's always someone here with me. I'm going to refer to that as God. You use the term that's best fitting for you. But God is always with me, watching over me, being a steward of me as in my being and my aura and everything that I have, and bringing to me desires of my heart. Nothing is too big, and these desires weren't placed in my heart for no reason. So just trusting and leaning into that, and then playing around with it, like putting desires out, following, allowing yourself to be guided, allowing yourself to have that aha moment, following it, staying calm, seeing that aha moment come into fruition and juicing it, milking everything out of it, telling everybody about this miracle, journaling this miracle, reminding yourself about the miracle, smiling as you're thinking about the miracle, closing your eyes and replaying the miracle over and over and over and over. A lot of the times we replay negative things, replay the worst memories of our lives, the things that brought out really, really strong and painful emotions. We don't want to replay that stuff. That stuff is programming our minds in a way that's going to make it really, really hard for us to walk by faith and not by sight. So we want to replay the miracles. We want to juice when life really unfolds for us and we see it, because that's what's going to help you to believe. And when you're walking by faith and you do get a chance to see even just a glimpse, juice it, milk it. It's going to really, really, really help solidify your faith that much more. And so with that being said, the fourth piece of advice I have is to be observant. I think that kind of goes into the third piece of advice. Be observant. If you're not observing, you're not going to notice the miracles, right? But if you're observing, you'll notice the small signs. You'll notice the small things that, again, solidifies that you're not alone, and you'll be able to celebrate that. It can be something as small as being in a line and someone decides to pay for something for you. I remember I was kind of in a bad mood about 3-4 days ago, and I was at a red light and I felt someone staring at me, so I didn't want to look to my right because I was kind of nervous about making eye contact, but something just told me to just look anyway. I decided to look anyway, and this person just ended up telling me, you know, you're beautiful. And they were just being themselves, their normal self, I'm sure, or just saying whatever came to their mind, but they didn't realize how much I needed that and just how much it like lit me up from the inside out, because I was in such a bad mood and having such a bad day. And so to have this stranger, this person that I don't even know, say that, it just solidified to me that God will use anybody, you know. And I felt like God did one of these, like, hold your chin up, it's okay, I see you, you're beautiful. And it felt good. But if I wasn't being observant, even observant enough to feel someone staring at me, I wouldn't have looked at them, and I wouldn't have gotten the response that I got. So one of the biggest takeaways that I'm even noticing as I'm giving you guys this advice is, when you're in this season of your life where you're forced to walk by faith and not by sight, like I am, you have to get so still. And that kind of brings me to my last piece of advice. Be patient and get still. Do not move until you're 1,000% certain that it is the direction that you're supposed to go in. You don't need to know all the steps. You just need to know the first step, and you need to be like 1,000% confident that this is the first step, that this is guidance, not just your doing, guidance. And so the biggest takeaway that I want to kind of pour into whoever is receiving this and healing through this with me is, you have to allow yourself to be sensitive. And the only way that you can be sensitive to what's going on is to get still. And when I say sensitive, I don't mean like emotional or things like that. I mean sensitive where you can feel, again, like I felt the person staring at me, where you can feel your impulses, hear your own inner voice and your own intuition. You have to tune everybody else out. The tips I have for getting to that place is devotion, prayer, being in the Word. I'm really trying to get heavy into reading my Bible, but right now I use Mind Valley. This is not sponsored by them, but I use Mind Valley, and I'm going through a program called Duality right now, and it's really helping with mindfulness, how to turn down your brain or analyzer, can actually hear a higher guidance so that you can hear. Because that's the only way you're going to be able to walk by faith. You need to hear this higher guidance, listen to it, follow its directions, and then watch when the blessing or the little reward, the hug shows up in a tangible way, and then juice it. Milk that for a week if you have to, you know, whatever it is, you milk it for a week. When I had that moment in the car, I told my friend about it, you know, I told myself about it like 10 times. I journaled about it. I told my sister about it. I juiced it because I want to make sure that that path is engraved in my brain, that never alone. Little moments like that are always showing up for me throughout my day. I just have to be aware enough to catch them, observant enough, pay attention. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. I don't want this to be too long. Hopefully I didn't ramble too much and you all were able to take some very powerful nuggets from this. I promise I will get much better with being consistent with my content and bring you guys on this journey with me, because I don't want to go through it alone. I want to take you with me, and I want to tell you everything as I'm learning and as I'm going and as I'm growing. So let's learn, let's grow, let's glow together. Love you guys, and ashe.